Hey guys, welcome to the lab where we experiment thoughts and life as we break down and discover our ever growing life as a young adult. Up until now, we had 14 guests come through and share about their personal life and gave us their experiment and wisdom upon their career and life thoughts. But today, I want to experiment things a bit differently. So last week, I threw a question on Instagram and asked you guys if you were the host, what question would you ask me? And you guys gave me such amazing questions that wanted me to talk about them here in the lab today. So here we go. Leave it all behind. 넘어져도 다시 일어나. Now, things are a bit different because every week I would have a guest next to me and get to know that person and talk to that person and discover creative thoughts and more things about that person. But today it feels a bit different because I'm here by myself talking on the microphone in my room. Feels a bit lonely, but at the same time, I'm quite excited. One of the questions that really stood out to me was from Joey, who asked, "What does being a creative mean to you?" Shout out to Joey for throwing up this question. It really made me think about, wow, what is creativity and what does it mean to me? For me, the word creative means to be active, alive, to be curious and excited to create something, whether it's tangible or not, copied from somewhere or rearranged. To make something happen is what I call creative. So, being a creative is literally to live an active life. Now, sometimes I think we fall into the trap that being a creative is to be a specific job description, like being a model, a dancer, a musician, an actor, designer. But when you think about those attributes, they dress nice, they look nice, and they have their own unique style. And that's what it's all about, being authentic. Excited to see creatives being on trend these days, especially in South Korea with the rise of K-pop. Not only musos, but dancers too are being recognized and are known for being a creative. Whereas up until when I was in Korea, my grandma used to call me a tantara, which would be like if you dance, if you do music, you would kind of be shamed of. Whereas now, like all the dances are on TV and everyone's being praised for. And nowadays, a lot of people use the word hip, and many creatives are hip, as in they're very stylish and unique in what they wear and how they act because that is who they are. I mean, that is supposed to be the definition of authentic, being who you are just the way you are. But trend has been developing so fast, like too fast, without even enough time to synchronize into what's new. We're already mimicking and mirroring what trend has become. Wearing other people's authenticity like it's my jacket, putting on other people's uniqueness as if it was my style all along. And I can see so many people drawing closer to this was me all along. I finally found the new me. But I really want to ask the question to them. Is it really your true self, or are you hiding behind what you think is you? The word hip came from hipster, and being a hippie meant rejecting the trend and following my own uniqueness. But being hip has become the new trend, and many people think it's like hip hop plus gangster, and being hip means you're the new black. Which really breaks my heart to see people misunderstand the real culture and just follow what TikTokers just tossed on TikTok. So I want to ask all you hipsters out there, what do you appreciate about being hip? Is it indie rock music, art, fashion, creativity, intelligence, witty banter? Do you enjoy the culture? What is it about this alternative trend that you really like? But anywho, coming back to Joey's question on what does being a creative mean to me? Being a creative means to actively seek for education. Like education as in being curious, to learn, being eager to see, and most definitely being eager to do. Being thirsty for something new and to make your idea and imagination come alive. Now, personally, I thought being a creative meant that I had to be either in a musician, a dancer, a designer, and I thought I had to be an artist to actually become a creative. And because being a creative just seemed too cool, I've been putting myself in the job description and actually was so uncreative to call myself a creative. Like making music and dressing like a hip hopper. Like, to be honest, I won't lie. I had style, I had fashion, and I really liked it when people saw me and praised me for what I weared. But one day I just felt so miserable, as in, why was I dressing up, covering myself so much with makeup? I did enjoy the time I had back then, and I'm glad I had the time to experience how I dress myself and how I do makeup. But I'm happy where I am right now, like who I am, how I am. That being creative is in all forms, not just a job criteria, but in what you do. A true creative won't go out announcing that she or he is a creative. I believe that a true creative creates while the world evolves. And when the time comes, the art will be recognized for its creativity. That's when your flower blooms. Every flower has its time to bloom in a specific season. Just because your petals haven't bloomed, it doesn't mean that you don't have any. It's just not your time yet to shine. So rather than being in a competition mode and being jealous of others, let's praise them when they bloom and be happy for them in their time whilst we keep on creating. So when I threw up this question as well, like I was talking to my sister Grace on the phone and she was like, "Hey, you should talk about fear as well." And I think I can understand where that comes from because fear cannot be left out when we talk about creativity. Because creativity doesn't have any boundaries, it doesn't have any limitations. It can have a specific criteria, it can have a specific outline form of how we might need to follow in terms of formatting. When there is a given criteria, you know the answers, you know what to do. But when it comes to abstract creativity, although there might be A, B, C's that you do need to keep, but that's when your freedom kicks in and you need to create art and people needs to like it and it needs to sell to other people. But the fear comes in when it's like, will people like what I do? Will people buy my product? Will people actually appreciate and understand the creative art that I have, the value that I put inside of my creativity? What if people doesn't recognize me? What if there isn't enough numbers equivalent to the time and effort that I've put in? And I think that's a definite thing, that's a definite feeling, that's definite thoughts that we always have and will always have as creatives. Fear, in a way, can be very negative, but on a positive side, I believe that fear can also be a drive. It's a motivator behind every move of creativity that we make. Having to look good, wanting to feel appreciated, wanting to be the best, and still today, I myself even struggle with this fear. I saw this video where a person was breaking down nervousness and excitement nerves, and he just explained that it's just a stimuli. And athletes or like Olympic people, they train themselves to know how to feel the nervous feeling into excitement feeling. And so I think when we adopt this discipline, I think we creatives can excel our creativity. Rather than thinking I'm so nervous, I'm afraid, change that thought as in I'm excited. Because when we're nervous, the feeling that we have is a rushness, is this like sweatiness, this rushed heartbeat. You beat your heart beats faster, your breath gets heavier and you feel that way, right? But how do you feel when you're excited? Don't you feel the same way? But when we try to change our thoughts into I'm excited rather than I'm nervous, rather than I'm afraid, this is my excitement feeling. I think rather than pushing away and pulling back, it gives us the drive to push on and actually want to do more because you're so excited to do so. And sometimes it's still a struggling balance for me myself as well because I fear. I definitely fear. but that fear is not a bad thing to have. I want to talk a little bit more about myself, as this episode is not like, oh, it's peace time and discover about peace. It's just me venting, it's just me venting. If I talk a little bit about myself and my creative journey, I started my creative journey as a dancer. I was a professional dancer in the field of hip hop, choreography, and used to teach dance myself. But due to body injury, I had to just let go of dance. But because music was always with me, as growing up in church, as a dancer, music is always there. I started to do music, and currently now I am studying computer science, and it's a very interesting journey. Like, it's not easy to come this way, and it's definitely not common to see a big shift, to see a big change inside of a person's life. Like, ba ba bam. Like, who would change from a dancer to a musician to a computer science is what I think. But I personally think that everyone is a creative, but not everyone knows how to create. If I talk a little bit more about myself, yeah, like I said, I am now studying computer science and information systems at a university called UNSW, and it is damn hard. When making the decision of studying actual intellectual academical studies, it really triggered me. Of course, I didn't want to study because study was far, far away from where I even wanted to go or where I actually was at that time. I had no choice but to choose this route because, man, life happens and reality kicks in. For about 24 years of my life, I haven't really used my brain to study. I did sports, I did music, I danced, but math and science, it was never a surprise for me to just stay back for extra catch up classes in school. But, anyways, I was really scared to let go of being a creative, letting go of music, letting go of dance, because I knew if I start studying at a proper uni, I wouldn't have time to manage music. And so I did make a big leap, a very big decision to pause music while I study. And fast forward today, I am sitting here in my room making this podcast session whilst still studying. And so if you ask me, are you still a creative? Hell yeah, I am. I might not be doing much music as I did before. I might not be dancing well as I did before, but studying is actually being a creative. It's a creative form for me. Because I get to learn something new, I am challenging myself to learn something that is way beyond my measures. I am pushing myself to go out of my comfort zone to learn and gain education for myself and future. And this learning journey has been feeding my brain so well. I literally feel so smart. It's definitely a different form of creativity. It's no longer a melody and rhythm kind of thing, but numbers and code. It's not a one, two, three, four, nor a five, six, seven, eight, but ones, zeros, and binary numbers. SQL, Java, Apple, Linux. I'm not pressing down on computer keys to make music, but I'm pressing down my keyboard pad and making numbers and programs. It's cool to see all this happen to me because I never would have thought that I'd be where I am today. But isn't that what a creative is? Moving out of your comfort zone, finding something extremely extreme, learning, constantly being hungry to learn, and actively activating the imagination inside of you, making your dream come alive. That's the journey I'm living right now. I'm constantly making something. I'm constantly creating, and I'm constantly continuously doing something. I've been experimenting a lot throughout the years here in Sydney. I've made 3 websites for myself so far. I tried YouTubes and vloggings. I've made music, wrote songs, released a single album, produced my own music video, led my church group, built I've even established to build and launch an NGO with my friends. launched this podcast called Lab and is currently studying a new degree after graduating from a bachelor's degree in music. Also, I did dip my toes in theology, and today, here I am. I'm all over the place, but I think that's what we're supposed to do in our 20s, to explore, to see, to see the world, and to understand that the world is just too small for me. So don't be discouraged if you're in a situation like I am. Just because your music stopped, it doesn't mean life is gone. Your home will always be your home, and it's called home because it's always there for you to come back. So to go out, explore, leave what you have aside, and try new things. Try the things you don't want to do. Keep on doing whatever you're doing right now because it will bring you to be an authentic creative being. Don't be discouraged, but find a small speck of joy. It can just be dancing in your room, it can be humming in the showers, but as long as that time gives you a small joy, that's all that matters. I really wish that you keep your heart passionate with what you like and don't let go of that hope. I think some of you might be curious like, Peace, why study? Why computer science? Why did you have no choice to do so? It's a bit personal, but just to open up a little bit, I am not a Australian person, as you can tell by my pronunciation. I grew up in the States, but I'm actually a South Korean being. And I've lived here in Sydney now for 6 years. But I'm studying on a student visa. I When I first came to Australia, I had no interest of getting a permanent residency. I disliked Australia a lot because it was very chill, it was very lazy, and I, coming from a very fast-paced 24/7 nightlife Korea, I did not want to live here in Australia. I did not see myself living here for a very long time. But after finishing my music degree, like right before finishing my music degree, being here with my parents, I really saw the appreciation of being together with family, especially not being able to live with my sister for a very long time, seeing my parents grow old. It really hit me where it's like, man, at least let's make my home Australia with my parents. And so, yeah, it was only until recent, like around a year ago already, that I've made the decision to, hey, let's try to find a way to live here in Australia, which is going for the permanent residencies. And yeah, it's not easy because there has been a lot of people ahead of me who tried to work, who tried to get the permanent residencies for more than like 8, 10 years, and still, they're still waiting to get a permanent residencies. And it's really hard. It's really hard. And it's really challenging for myself as well because I don't want to not waste, but I don't want to spend my youth, my 20s, in trying to get this visa thing. When you're young, I believe that you should explore, you should adventure, you should just enjoy your life as much as you can. But having to spend your life just to get this residencies, it's like, is it really worth it? And so when I first came to Australia, I did everything that I wanted to do. I explored, I went out, I've seen what Sydney was, what Australia is like. And now it's more of like, yeah, I made the decision I want to study. And never in my life, like I said before, I've never studied. I don't know math. Even my dad was like, hey, if you're going to do computer science, you need to start from like primary school math. Like, you need to do your additions again. And he was like, do you even know what 9 times 8 is? And I was like, Dad, it's 64. And my dad was like, bruh. Where it's like really that bad. But I know that if I put my mind into it, I can do anything. Like, I know and I have the confidence to do good because I believe in myself. But it's been a rough journey as a creative because sometimes I still fall inside of the trap where it's like, if I'm studying, I'm not being a creative. If I'm studying, studies, if I'm studying programming, it's nothing to do with music. It has nothing to do with dancing. It has nothing to do with the creative industry. Yet I'm studying. How can I call myself a creative? But because I study like 8 hours a day, because I have the time to put my mind into 9 to 5 to actually study, when that time is done, when I'm finished with my studies, I get time to work on my music. I get time to actually go and do my creative work. Now, of course, it's I'm not a robot where I can just, yay, I finished my studies, I'm going to go do music. Of course it doesn't work like that because you're exhausted already. But when I'm given the opportunity to use my time to put my portion in to do a little bit more music, I find more joy because I'm not really like stuck there to show or to impress people with what I do. I'm just there to merely enjoy music just for the sake of it. And I think that's so good. That's where I can turn off and turn on straight away. And that's where my creative energy can flow. And yeah, I'm like 26. Some people call me old. I feel old. I'm in like my mid 20s where it's like I'm old, but I feel like now I'm discovering my life. I am now unfolding what life is supposed to be like. And of course, I am nowhere close to knowing what life is like, but being here in my mid 20s, I can confidently say I'm happy because I know my values and I know my rights and goods. I know what's good and wrong. I know what's good and bad for me. And I know what I want and what I don't want. I know what I need to do and what I don't need to do. And so just because I put a pause, just because I'm a bit slow with seeing results in my creative art flow doesn't mean that I'm not there. It doesn't mean that I'm no longer there as well. I'm an artist who studies computer science. I'm an artist who studies information systems. This is a book. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a Korean book called 아프니까 청춘이다. And the word 청춘 itself, it can't really be translated into English because it's such a beautiful word. But 청춘 means your early blooming seasons, your young adults, your youth. It's when you shine the most. And I think that's when you're in your 20s and you're coming out from your teens, you're exploring, you're getting to understand what the world is like. And it's pain, it suffers. It's so many problems, so many circumstances, so many situations that just bump up and it's just like, wow, is this really life, you know? But through those pains, through those sufferings, through those hardships, that's what brings us to become authentic. Those experiences, those personal feelings is what makes us unique in our own ways. And I first read this book when I was in high school. I think it was 17. I even wrote the year. It was when I was in 20, it was 2013. So that was when I was 16 years old. And so 2013, man, that was like, I think 9 years ago? 9 years ago. Wow. But 9 years later, I am reading this again because I love this book. This book really changed my thoughts when I was in high school. This book really helped me to, as it was like a guidebook for me to walk into my 20s, if that makes sense. I really was a rebel when I was 16. I you did not want to meet me as a teacher if you were sick when I was 16. But this book really helped me to discover myself in terms of like personal development, my visions, what I want to reach, how I want to see life. And today, whilst rereading this, it's like I can see my notes. I can see where I highlighted what kind of thoughts that I had back then. And one of the most memorable things about this book is it describes our life. It wait, it has this analogy of putting life into a life clock. So easily said, it's like right now for me, my life clock sits at 8:20 a.m. So if there's a 24-hour clock and that's your life expansion, like that's your life, right? So if it's 24, that's when you die. So say approximately people lives for like 80 years. Then if we calculate that, it's like me being in my 20s, I'm 26, so 26 is 8:20 a.m. for me. I can't do the calculation, but I'll explain more on this if you guys want to. Let me know if you guys want to know what this calculation is and to calculate your time. Comment, let me know. But yeah, so for me it's like only 8:20 a.m. and 8:20, what do I do then? It's like I'm either coming back from the gym, or if I don't go gym, I'm just sitting in my diner table having yogurt with honey. And so that's super early. It's not even like work time. It's not even study time. And when you think about it like that, the thought of, oh my gosh, I'm late. Oh my gosh, I'm still old. Like those thoughts just clear up in your mind because it's only 8:20 a.m. Like I have all the time. Like life is still young. And so this book really helped me cultivate my thoughts because if you're in Korea, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm too old, I'm too late. But honestly, I don't think you're ever late. So if you think that you're late, just start now because it's better late than never. And if I ask the question, what do I want to leave behind in the lab before I go today? Ah, this question is always needed in every episode, eh? Well, I want to spill a tea where this morning I have finally found what I want to do, what I want to achieve. I have found my goal, like my legitimate dream goal that I want to achieve. They say to dream big, and so I will, but it feels good. It feels a bit far away, but yet so close that I know and I can feel that I can achieve this dream. Um, so I graduated a music degree from JMC, and I think in my second year studying there, there was this like internship subject that you could do, and there was a Sony internship, and so I was like, oh, I really want to do this, and so I checked it out. I missed the first application line, so I couldn't do that, but I was like, oh, let's do it next year. And next year, when the time of application came through, I was preparing myself. I really wanted to put this internship in, but I didn't because I was afraid and I thought I wouldn't get in, and I just didn't apply. And it was really sad to see that because might as well just apply and just fall rather than not applying and failing at the same time. But I really, really wanted to work and be part of Sony or either the Universal Music. And yeah, I really wanted to do that, but I never did. And I really liked music, but rather than creating my own music, I enjoyed helping other artists discover more about them. And when I think about it, like the only subject that I really felt like this is it, I really enjoy music, was music business subject that I took in my last trimester at college. And I always liked business. I always liked startups and entrepreneurship and stuff, but I knew that I was never the type of person who could actually do business because I'm just too nice and too nice. I tried releasing my music. I made music. I wrote songs, and I've planned business promotion tactics and social media marketing and stuff. And I did want to form my own sort of business as well. And I do remember like talking to Rue back then where I wanted to start something like an empire, like a label. And I really admired what Jay Park was doing at that time. But music label wasn't what I really wanted to achieve. And because I have chosen to go towards a permanent residency's route, I chose computer science over information systems at that time because those are my two options. But I chose computer science because it just looked more cool. I did not think about maths and science, but it just seemed more cool. And so I chose it. But after a year of studying coding and programming, I'm just currently trying to change into information systems. While studying my subject, I just suddenly asked myself this morning, so what am I wanting to pursue through this route? Like, I've studied computer programming for a year, I studied theology for months as well, but I can't just sit my bums down and try to take in everything that this subject that this course is wanting me to soak in. I'm not just straight out from high school studying uni. I am 26 years old who needs to pick what I need to choose, who needs to know what I'm studying, and I need to know where this study is going to take me. And so I suddenly thought of Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and how they achieved their success with a bit of luck. And of course, they were smart, but luck cannot be taken away from the situation. Like, we look into the result of their success, but we definitely need to look into their surroundings, like what situations, what resources were there to help them take a step closer into their success. Bill Gates went to one school, like the only school that provided computers, which helped him get a bit closer to achieving Microsoft. What about the music industry? And so I looked into music business company CEOs and looked into how they achieve their positions. They walked into the steps of being an A&R, which I feel like I'm really suitable for the job, where it's artist and repertoire. You find platforms for artists, you help them discover what they can better do in terms of bringing a better performance, having a better result. So, if I wanted to be within the music industry, which route do I need to go was what I was curious upon, because I didn't think that I can put music and information systems together. Maybe some of you might guys might think, "Oh, that's duh piece. Why are you so stupid?" But I did not. I was not able to think that far. And so, if I wanted to achieve a PR here in Australia, I need to work as a data analyst or a business analyst. And I suddenly searched my favorite companies like Sony and Universal. And luckily enough, I found in their website that they offer jobs and careers in a separate tab. And so I found that in Sydney, they provide the job careers, which can allow me to achieve a PR. And of course, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I can do that, but it's a very big dream. It's a very broad dream. It's a very far away dream for me, but they say to dream big, right? And just when I look back at it, it's just so cool because 3, 4 years ago, I was so fascinated. I was so into Sony and Universal that I wanted to be there as an artist. I wanted to be there as a singer songwriter producer. But today, I am here standing in the same position, thinking, saying, dreaming that I want to be there as an information system person. I want to be there as a business analysis, as a music business data analysis to help other artists, to help other musicians inside of the music industry to better achieve a better performance. And I was just like, whoa, this is it. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. This is it. I love helping other people. I love helping musicians grow. I love seeing other artists, other people discover a better self of them. And it's been a very long time. It's been a very long journey up until this point, but I feel like I finally find what I need to do, what I want to do. And I think I am going somewhere. Yeah, and I just really hope that this motivation and goal doesn't die too quickly. But I say this because I want to leave this here in the lab and see where I can go with this. I'm not saying this with a light weight, but I really say this with my prayers, with my hope, so that I can see later down in the future of what I make happen. And I can't promise anything, but I do hope to see myself be the creative to make happen of what I've declared, to make happen of this imagination inside of my brain. And when I do on that day, I'm going to be so proud of myself. But I feel like I can achieve this. Like I have so much confidence inside of me. I don't know where this feeling, this gut confidence is coming from, but I think it's really amazing because just because you have a dream, it doesn't mean that that dream is it has to stay there. Just because I'm doing this job, it doesn't mean that that job has to stay there. Dreams can always grow. Jobs can always become another job, and it doesn't mean that because you're in one job, you have to stick to that job forever. Just because you have one dream, it doesn't mean that you have to dream that dream forever. Dreams can change. Dreams can develop. Dreams can become a bigger dream. And I want to say dream big. I want you guys to find your dreams. I want you guys to have your visions. And I really hope that more people can come to dream. It's really sad to see and feel when I ask people, what is your dream? What do you want to become? What do you want to do? What do you want to, how do you see yourself when you grow up? Like people say, I don't know. I don't have a dream. And it's so sad because that's what I've been chasing for my whole life, a dream, passion, a vision. Mm. But anywho, that's what I want to leave in the lab with you guys. So I really believe that being a creative doesn't mean you have to perform 24/7. You don't have to perform at all times. You don't have to show people what you do, but deliberately create, learn, seek for new things, and make happen of what you dream of. So thank you guys for tuning into this lab with me. I really want to say thank you for all the listeners who are listening to this podcast today. I don't know how many of you guys are listening. I don't know who you are who is listening to this lab, but I really hope that there has been some value for you to take in. And if so, please do share it on your favorite social media platform and leave your 2 cents by commenting because it means the world to me. But you can find Lab on Instagram at leaveitallbehind_lab, where you can get easy access to all the links to other streamings and social platforms. And also, please join the community and support by following Lab on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, and more. So, hope to see what value you got out of today's episode. And before we say goodbye, I really, really cherish you guys all so much. It's been a very hard journey for me to consistently keep this lab alive every fortnightly whilst juggling my studies. But I think because of this lab, it's the momentum that keeps me studying. It's the momentum that keeps the joy out of me. Out of me? No, that keeps the joy kicking inside of me. Anywho, you guys know what I'm saying. Like my brain is already fried for all the studies that I've been doing all this day. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really hope to see you guys one day. Hopefully, if I plan something. But please do share your comment, leave comments. Please DM me if you have anything you guys want to talk about. I am here to listen and hope to talk to you guys soon. See you guys in the next episode. Leave it all